My stepdad tried to turn me into a 1920s housewife, so I did exactly as he asked. Today, the doctors told him they'll have to amputate his right hand. From the first day that my stepdad moved in with me and my mom, I knew there was something off about him, but I felt bad because he was the first man my mom had been with since dad died 16 years ago. So I told myself I was just being an overprotective daughter and tried to see the best in him. Unfortunately, Larry made that extremely difficult. If he saw me doing my math homework in the kitchen, he'd shut my textbook and put it on a shelf I couldn't reach. Math can wait, he'd say. A woman's first priority is feeding her family. At first, I was low-key down to listen to him because then I could blame my bad grades on his parenting. But then on my 14th birthday, he got me a gift no girl should ever receive from their dad, a boyfriend. I still remember how I felt coming down the stairs that morning, excited to go to Disneyland with mom and get the Mickey-shaped pretzels like we did every year. Instead, I was greeted by a random boy I didn't recognize. "This is Preston," my stepdad Larry announced with pride. "He's going to be your date to family dinners from now on. It's time you learned how to properly entertain and be with a man." I locked eyes with Preston, whose beady eyes ran along my body like a vulture circling his prey. "Mom?" I turned to face her, my voice barely a whisper. She stared down at the ground. That's when I knew she was scared of Larry, too scared to interfere. From there, every Saturday, Preston would show up for dinner and I'd have to serve him like some 1920s housewife while Larry critiqued my hostess skills. Then came what I now like to call the dishwater tests. Every single night at 7:30, when mom was in the shower, Larry stormed into the kitchen. He'd roll up his sleeve and plunge his hand into the sink that I was washing the dishes in, all to test the temperature of the water I was using. "Ice cold!" he'd shout, even when steam was rising from the sink. "You can't clean anything properly in cold water. Start over." The first time, I just sighed and drained the sink. By the 50th time, I knew something had to change. Mom only tried to stand up for me once. "Larry, she's been washing for an hour." Immediately, his hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. "Preston needs his dishes to be perfect." She never defended me again. We were both trapped. By week 8, I wasn't just washing dishes at night. He'd wake me up at 5 a.m. because the previous night's water wasn't hot enough to kill germs. I'd stand there in my thin material pajamas, the ones Preston said were attractive, rewashing spotless plates while he watched. On the outside, I looked exhausted and worn down, but on the inside, I felt like a huge badass, because I knew that when it was time for me to strike back, he was going to be the one begging me to leave him alone. The night I finally striked was the night of my best friend's birthday party. "Please," I begged Larry, "I'll do double dishes tomorrow to make up for it." He smiled that cold smile and said, "Either your mother covers for you and does the dishes instead of you, or you don't go to the party." I knew then that nobody was coming to save us, but maybe I could save us both. I decided not to go, and instead stayed up until 4 a.m. planning my strike back. And the more I thought about how much I was about to ruin his life, the more I was smiling. I added bleach to the empty sink, enough to burn. And for the finishing touches, I sprinkled in a little rat poison and ghost pepper. At 7:29 a.m., mom started her shower. I heard Larry's footsteps in the hallway, his narcissistic swagger coming down with each step. My heart was pounding so hard I thought he'd hear it. I poured the boiling water into the sink, added soap, and stirred with a wooden spoon just as he entered. He was already loosening his watch. "Almost ready for your dishwasher test, Larry," I said sweetly, stirring faster to create more steam. His hand plunged in with the confidence of a man who'd done this 100 times before. "Ah, what the actual F?" The scream that came out of him was inhuman. He stepped back and his bare feet came into contact with the broken glass I had placed on the ground when he wasn't looking. "Oh my goodness gracious," I gasped, not even trying to hide my smirk. "I was just trying to make the dishes extra hot like you always say. Do you think I should call 911? "Yes, you imbecile." "Okay," I smiled, speaking in the soft voice he'd trained me to use around Preston. "But since I'm just a useless woman, maybe we should call Preston to ask him what he thinks we should do." He kept roaring like an ugly grizzly bear on coke. Mom rushed out of the shower, hair still dripping. She tried to look shocked, but I saw the relief in her eyes as she dialed 911. The ER trip lasted 6 hours. "Second-degree burns," they said. When the doctor asked how it happened, Larry mumbled something about how he tripped and fell. The doctors told him if he doesn't get his hand amputated, he might lose his life. Sometimes the best revenge is serving it at exactly the right temperature.